Why don't you guys start as I keep admitting people?
Ladies first.
I'll start. I'm Megan. I am from Pennsylvania, where I am right now, visiting my family. But I live in Boquete with Oscar, neighbors with Rod, and I came to Panama originally as a Peace Corps volunteer. I served for 2 years as a environmental education volunteer and decided to stay because I just loved Panama so much. And I moved to Boquete, and now I am operations director for Retire in Panama Tours. So I keep things on schedule and organized, Oscar especially. And I also studied at Penn State. I have an international development degree. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. So I guess I'll carry on. My name is Oscar Pena. I'm originally from Cali, Colombia. I got in Boquete in August 12, 2009. Prior to that, I was living in Costa Rica between 2006 and 2009. I studied tourism and hotel tourism back in Colombia. I never got a degree, but everything that I have learned during these almost over 15 years has been through full 100% field ground experience. And I got into 2011 offering services, specific services for expats that were struggling in a way they couldn't figure out how things get done. And I realized then I could be the person who could be the bridge between the two worlds, between the Latin American world and North American world. So this is what I bring on the table. Then I met Rod. He was actually, I was assisting him and to get his residency, everything get done here. And since we became friends, then we became business partners. Then we're just running this operation. And then, yep, I met Megan. Megan was the final piece of the puzzle to make all this awesomeness to work. So I'm very happy and proud of this team and very grateful for every single one of you to join us every single Q&A. And we all tell you all kinds of stories more about me when you come here with us.
Oh, wait, you're done? Sorry. My name's Rod Larby. I'm from Vancouver, Canada.
That's okay, Rod. That's okay. You're done. That's fine.
Okay, I'm done. Okay. And moved here 9 years ago. Never looked back. I live in Boquete, Panama, again, next door to Oscar and Megan. And which is kind of weird sometimes, but anyway. So
You love it.
I was semi-retired. I was an online marketer. I had some other hats that I was working in the publishing business and stuff like that. But I met Oscar and we started doing tour stuff. And many of you on this call don't even know who we are. Our company is Retire in Panama Tours. Now, we're not here to just sell you a tour. That's all we're here for. No, just kidding. We provide services to expats that are coming here and that already live here. And this call is free. We provide free advice to help people make that move. I can tell you where I made a mistake, mistakes as a North American coming here and trouble I got in, and I was getting advice from the wrong place. And that's basically what we're going to talk about tonight. What it's like to live here and what should you do to make that happen? So that is who we are. We have, between the three of us, we currently have about 18 years experience helping expats move from all over the world to Panama to get everything done and get everything done right and fast and painless. So I'm going to start out with number one. I've been doing the COVID update. Can't wait till I can stop saying that. Truthfully. Yeah, things are going good. The health ministry is happy in Panama. They're opening up more things. They're opening up things faster than they were thinking of. Airports open for tourism. We still have some restrictions, like we are in a mandatory mask country right now when you're outdoors, or when you're in public, I should say. But apart from that, and some curfews, nighttime curfews, which keeps the partiers off the street, I guess. we are open for business.
No,
So
no way.
no way, Madeline. Okay.
Yeah, no way.
Sorry. Yeah. Where was I going? So things are good. Airport opened, and 3 weeks before that, all our retail open, services open. We have not seen any spikes. We've actually seen drops. We've seen drops in ICU beds. We've seen drops in the RT number. We've seen drops in daily cases. Things are looking good. It's being managed well. And that's pretty short COVID update, but that's what it is. We have a couple other announcements. One announcement today, Panama is really pushing to get our economy going again. Obviously, every country has suffered. We are, like any other country, going to have negative numbers in our GDP this year. But they've introduced a new visa today only. Just heard about it 3 hours ago. And it's a very interesting visa. It is for a person of means. So it's an investment visa. The numbers range between 300,000 and 750,000, but you can actually get a permanent residency visa for Panama in 30 days without actually being here. Now it involves, the three things I know of is an investment in the Panama Stock Exchange, a $300,000 real estate investment, and that doesn't have to be cash either. That can be, well, probably not a mortgage here, but if you're financially secure back in your country and you want to buy international property, you could, get a loan for a second international home and buy it here. And just because of that, you get permanent residency visa. Then there is some other stock market, and then there's some business investment. So yeah, they all range between, like, they're trying to obviously, like, this is based on the economy. We still have our pensionable visa. We still have our friendly nations visa, the one that most people come in. But for the rich people of the world, if you want to send some money down here, hey, you can get your residency, you can do your plan B, and you don't even have to come here, apparently. So it's just, it's really an interesting visa and an option for some people. So I wanted to open up with that. Now, Megan, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Open up the participants, and you'll see at the top where it says wait room, and you got to hit admit. And you
Got
hop
it.
over, okay? And I'm going to have a chat with Ralph. I got to find Ralph. Ralph, if the camera's not on yet, is it possible to turn it on so we can get you over to the front page?
Well, the camera's on, Rod. So you should see me
Hello,
somewhere.
Rob.
Hey, Oscar.
Good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you, my friend. And thanks for having me on the call. This is exciting, and I'm really happy that you guys are introducing people to this great country of Panama that I now call home and I fell in love with over 10 years ago. And thanks again.
Yeah, I wanted to give Ralph the proper introduction he deserves. Oscar and I have known Ralph basically since the day we got here. Ralph owns a security company in Panama that secures some of the highest end gated communities in the country, other personal security stuff. And we're going to talk a little bit on this call because this is one in the top 5 questions I get. People, and when I decided to move here, my family was all, oh my God, is it safe there? Are you going to be kidnapped? Are you going to be murdered by the guerrillas? Or I don't know where people get this information, but we're going to talk a little bit about his security, safety, being smart, because there's crime everywhere, folks, and we're not going to BS you. There's crime everywhere in the world. So this is not just a paradise where you can come and leave your doors open and cars unlocked. So, but anyways, I wanted to introduce Ralph, but let Ralph tell us a little bit about your history in the security business. Why do you know so much?
All right. I'm retired law enforcement. I used to work as investigator for the prosecutor's office in Bergen County, New Jersey. I took a leave of absence because I didn't like the direction of things in the world, which I don't want to get into. And I was looking for what I considered a safe place for myself and my family. After weeks and months, or probably years of research and traveling throughout the world, a retired major general his name was Albert Stubblebine, U.S. Army, suggested Panama. I didn't know much about it, knew they had a canal, and basically said, if you're looking for a great plan B, somewhere that has the basics you need in case of any kind of unrest, Panama has it. And I mean, we can go from the basics of survival, from shelter. If you're in an environment that's too cold or too hot, you're not going to survive it. Panama, especially Boquete, has got the best environment. Anywhere you are, the climate conditions aren't going to get you. The number two is always water. Sometimes in Boquete we have way too much. Sometimes in dry season we get it, but water is just absolutely not an issue pretty much anywhere in Panama. Maybe distribution is, and there's ways to handle that if you live there. So let's get down to food. In Chiriquí, where Boquete is the bread basket. But generally, they have this joke that you could put a pencil in the ground, it'll grow a tree. The climate, the humidity, the soil conditions, you can pretty much be self-sustaining and work in a barter system. And then the last is security. If you have everything that you need, but you're not in a secure environment and one can't protect yourself or work with people that protect you, someone else is just going to come along and take it in a worst case scenario. So Panama has what I consider very reasonable laws when it comes to the right to self-defense and a castle doctrine. There you have the right in your own home to do certain things you do not have outside of your home. And I'll leave it at that. But basically, I went throughout the United States, part of Europe, and settled in Panama, wound in Boquete, Panama. Wound up in Boquete, probably met Oscar at the Vascondido Cantina, had some conversations, decided to move there, and purchased a company from my old friend Sam Taliaferro that built this community called Vascondido. It's where we currently provide security. It's where I have an apartment. At one point, I owned a few houses in there. It was built after the concept of Atlas Shrugged. For those of you who read it, it's the secret hidden community called Gulch, the Hidden Valley. That's why the name is Vascondido. And the idea was that, or Sam's idea always was, that if the world went sideways, why do you have to not live survival in luxury? So it's got a golf course, greenhouses, water. It's supposed to have its own electrical supply. Over the years, the concept have changed. Sam passed away, but it's still, Boquete as a whole in Panama provides certain things that if you want a plan B, it's perfect. And if you want to move there, there's some challenges. It's not going to be what you're used to, but I fell in love with it. I pretty much lived there full time. At the moment, I'm in New Jersey. That's where I'm calling you from. I had some technical difficulties dealing with an issue with my children. I'll be back down around the 27th to Boquete. I've been traveling in and out of Tacoma Airport during this COVID crisis, and it's pretty much been a non-issue. So they want, the first time I returned, yes, I had a quarantine. So I went to the show pony for 14 days, Oscar. Wasn't real bad. And now I'll make sure I have a negative COVID test 48 hours before you depart. It's not arrive, it's depart. So that gives you plenty of a window. I'd rather not take the test in Panama because, God forbid, it's a false positive. Yes, they'll pay for your hotel for whatever, 7 or 14 days, but I'm sure it's not the Marriott or the Hyatt. So my suggestion would be make sure you have the COVID test and you'll be fine. Traveling throughout the country is not an issue, even if it's a quarantine date. On Sunday, if you have an airline ticket, you can travel. There's really no hassle. But I'll jump back into the safety and security of Panama in a minute. But you want me to go anywhere else, Rod?
No, that was question 1 of 4, but you're out of time.
Okay.
No, let's move on to the expat communities. Most of these people, if they move here, are going to end up in an expat community, whether it's a small one like Pena or a big one like Boquete or in Coronado. How safe are they from crime against person and personal property compared to your average community in the U.S.?
Well, first let's compare it to our neighbors in Central America, okay?
Yeah.
Many of the clients and many people moving to Panama are leaving Costa Rica. Costa Rica has its challenges. It became very expensive it had an economy that was pretty much based on tourism. When tourism dried up, there was some xenophobia against Americans, and I can go into some stories of severe crime there. It's not worth it. Then these people moved to Panama. We can talk about our southerly neighbor, Colombia, and I'm not here to knock Oscar. There's beautiful, safe places, but the level of crime statistically is much higher than Panama. Panama as a whole has something going for it that other countries don't. It's called the Panama Canal. It's a cash machine for the government that's able to do things for its citizens that these other countries can't. We're not going to get into the politics of it. It was whether they should or shouldn't. But as a result of that, the majority of Panamanians recognize the asset of the Panama Canal, and by extension, the majority have no problem with gringos or Americans, or for the most part, because they understand that that asset is part of the American culture. Yes, it was handed over to them, but there's no, the xenophobia, I've never really experienced it. People have. I consider Panamanians gentle, Christian, they'll go out of the way to help you. Does that mean there's no crime? No. There's crime everywhere. But most of it, especially in the Boquete area, was because people did things that weren't too smart, in my opinion. And I can give you a few examples. The first being is, you know, they buy this large piece of land that's got a great view, and they build their dream house just like in the United States with no neighbors, no fences, no bars on the window, and they don't understand why they got broken into. If you're going to move into any country, you need to do what your neighbors do. And if you're going to live amongst the general population, do what your neighbors do. If you want to not worry about it, you can move into a high-end gated community where, pretty much like Vascondido, people leave for 6 months. They don't lock their doors. They don't lock their windows. In 10 years, we've never had an external issue of theft whatsoever. The only reports of issues are internal, such as a maid lifting a piece of jewelry or the gardener stealing a lawnmower, but no external threats because there's 24-hour guards at a gate, and we patrol. And the security patrol is similar to a police patrol in North America. If you're outside of gated communities in Boquete, it's safe. But you have to take some more responsibility for yourself. Instead of a paid security company, you should probably install cameras, have an alarm. Depending on where you are, have a fence around your property. I think Rod and Oscar do. It's not for any other reason than that's just what you do. Some people have bars on the window. I live with my girlfriend in Panama, in Boquete, outside of Vascondido most of the time, and she's got bars on the windows, and it's decorative and it's fine. We've never had an issue there. That's Brises Boqueteños. But you do have to be aware of your surroundings, no different than New York. I mean, do you want to compare the stats to Chicago? I think it's 1,000 times safer. Just be aware of your surroundings and don't become a victim of generosity. Basically, what I mean by that is you'll come across someone that befriends you, and because they speak English, you might be a little bit too generous, and later on, you're not going to get that loan back. But the violent crime in Boquete is extremely low. The few instances we have are few and far between. The even petty crime is low. The quarantine, I assumed crime would increase. It did in the very beginning slightly. We're talking like people reaching through an open window and stealing a pocketbook. That subsided. The reality is when they lift the quarantine completely, I do expect crime to possibly tick up slightly, because now if you're outside of quarantine hours, the police stop you. They're like, what are you doing? Once they lift the quarantine, they're not going to stop everyone, and it's going to be, you could blend in and criminals are going to blend in. We're going to have challenges, and they're no more than the challenges in the United States, no more than the challenges in Europe. We have economic pressures, businesses have been closed, people have been unemployed, and Panama's doing the right thing to fix and address these issues. But when you shut down an economy that long, there are people throughout the world, they're going to have some challenges. You just need to adjust and plan for them accordingly. I hope that answered the question about the crime.
Okay, yeah, he actually answered 2 and 3, and like how do we protect ourselves and stuff like that, for sure. So the final question is just about us because we got to get into our Q&A. Is
Okay.
there any other services your company offers that would be able to offer to people moving here, and how would they get a hold of you, or do you want them to come to us? Or?
My main service is provide a security force with patrol for gated communities.
Mhm.
So unless you're planning one, I probably cannot provide you a service. What I do is I do security consulting. So if you're going to move to Panama and you're going to buy a house, I will come there and tell you this is where your camera should be. This is the people I recommend you use. This is what kind of alarm system you should have. I can give you a consulting. I charge $100 an hour. I come out and I'll give you an overview of the property in the neighborhood. Generally, because I've been there so long, I also know the reported bad guys in the neighborhood, and they're few and far between. A few things you need to realize that's different than anywhere in the United States. The police force is much better trained than it was 10 years ago, but they rotate them often, and it's an anti-corruption thing. About 12 years ago, 13 years ago, maybe even 15, this is before I got there, the bank was robbed in Boquete, and the understanding was the police chief and his guys that did it. So what the Panamanian government does is they rotate their police every 3 to 4 months, so they don't build a base of corruption. And that has pros and it has cons. The cons is that the new police officer that just got Boquete the first time doesn't know any of the roads, doesn't know where to go. They figure it out, and then you build a relationship, and they move on, and someone else comes in. It's not a major issue. It's just completely different than the way the United States does it, where you'll have your local police or maybe your county police or your state police, and those guys are always there. There is some rotation in and out. And there are different types of police. They have similar uniforms, but they all have different tasks. The ones that patrol in blue uniforms in a truck are your local police. They'll come for if you have a problem at your house. If you have a car accident, it's transito police. Same uniform, but they have a yellow vest and usually on a motorcycle. And they handle all traffic infractions. So you see the pickup truck, generally it's not a problem to speed right past them because that's not his job. It's the guy in the yellow vest with the motorcycle you don't want to speed past. Then we have the tourism police. They just have a plastic placard on their shoulder. And they're there to make the tourist areas. We have a few in Boquete. The tourists feel safe. They check in the hotels. They generally, in Vasconillo, they came once a day to the front desk, made sure everything was fine. And they're just a presence. We have the De Jota, which is the investigative branch. They're generally plain clothes, and they're the ones that investigate crime. And those are your 4 major departments. We have Lince Police. There's these 2 guys that sit in a small motorcycle off-road. The one in the back looks intimidating because it looks like an automatic weapon. And they drive around, and their job is primarily in Panama City to get through traffic. In Boquete, we don't have that much, but there's generally at least one of those in Boquete during the day, if not at all times. Wouldn't you agree, Rod?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
true.
And most people think those are military because they wear a military style uniform, but they're not.
Yeah, no, they look like a SWAT team, tactical, pretty much, on a motorcycle.
And they generally have a short lifespan of that job. Then they go to a patrol because these motorcycles, the way they ride them, I mean, they're in full gear, shin guards, elbow guards, helmets, but they do go down occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone is moved here or is here and wants Ralph services, you can always reach out to us and we'll make the connection to them.
Yeah, I guess I didn't answer that correctly. Yeah, anything if you're there and I can help, Rod and Oscar will get you in touch with me.
Yeah, and if you're on one of our tours, we often have coffee on a Tuesday afternoon with Ralph and we talk more about other issues. So perfect. Okay, thank you for joining us here.
Thank you, Ralph.
No, you're welcome.
You're not going to get mugged. In the follow-up email to this call, I'm going to send you a couple links to some really interesting places you need to look if you're thinking about moving here. They're statistic sites that gather crime stats from around the world and basically compares countries against countries. It's what I did back in 2009-10 when I was looking for a place to move. I was really surprised to find that, okay, this place is just as safe as Canada. So what are my relatives worried about? Okay, let's start this Q&A. Megan, I will take over the participant and watch for people trying to get in. And you can start working on the chat. But if anyone has any questions you want to ask, unmute yourself and ask.
Great. I will start from the top if nobody has a question they would like to ask.
Oh, and
verbally.
Sorry, Megan. I saw a few people on page 4 who are on phones. Hit *6 to unmute yourself. Ask your question, then hit *6 to put it back on mute. Sorry, go ahead.
Looks like we have a hand raised from SG. You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask away.
Hi, thank you for taking my question.
Sure.
So I just wanted to know, because we're coming in from Costa Rica and I'm unsure as to where to get the COVID test in the time frame. So I know that with the airports, they're doing the testing at the airport, but how does that work on the land border?
Okay.
At the lab borders, I'm not confirmed that we have labs in the Costa Rican border. My highly suggestion is since it's 48 hours prior, if you're coming from Costa Rica, to go to the lab to San Jose, because San Jose to the border is only 8 hours bus ride.
Okay.
So that'll give you plenty time. I do not believe there is a proper lab or test at the frontier of Paso Canoas.
Okay.
It's
right.
quite a little bit. Always Paso Canoas is a little bit like a gun show sometimes. So it's like a give and take. But
do you suggest the Paso Canoa border versus the Bocas border to come in through?
iPhone.
well, both are same tricky in a way. Like can be sometimes busier or slower. Right now, depends where you are located. So basically, if you are in San Jose, you can take either. But the Paso Canoas is the closest to Chiriquí. You literally is connecting to Chiriquí. The Bocas del Toro, and then you enter to the province of Bocas del Toro. So you're still gonna be 3 hours away from Boquete, 4 hours from Boquete.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hey, Oscar, aren't the land borders closed right now because of the protest?
But at least I know the Paso Canoas, there has been some tension. So before that, we can actually check the news because and solid information might be the easiest and the safest to go through Bocas or to Rio Sereno, because we have 3 borders. So you can come either to Rio Sereno, which is a laid back cross frontier, and you go to a small town. It's called Santa, what is it called, Megan? The town in Rio Sereno?
Well, you go through Rio Sereno first, then you'll go through Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, yes. And then that's close to Volcan, and it's only like an hour and a half from Boquete. If not, will be Changuinola or Sixaola on the province of Bocas del Toro. But I highly suggest take the test in San Jose in the lab.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, I'm going to move on to questions on the chat. Our first question was, what moving company from Florida to Boquete would you recommend? And that's from Sharon.
Depending what
Pass it over to Rob.
If you're moving like a partial container or a full container, I would recommend either Mexico Movers, and don't laugh about the name. They specialize in Mexico and Panama. So I don't know. The owner said, we're going to change the name one day to Mexico and Panama Movers, but their website is Mexico Movers Moving Company. They're very good, great things. Or Canal Movers, who are located right here in the Panama Canal. Just Google Canal Movers. And those are the 2 most highly rated, stay away from the big international guys because they don't understand Panama customs, where canal movers only moves things from North America to Panama. So they know all the procedures, and Mexico movers only move from the US and Canada to Mexico or Panama. So if you want to stay with a specialized company, getting quotes from those two might be your best.
You might get a bottle of tequila. Maybe not.
There you go.
We also had a few questions about getting the tests in that 48-hour time frame.
Okay.
Would you like to go over that a little bit, Rod?
Yeah, I got that. Now, every single person that's contacted me, I have found them a center within an hour of them that they can get a test. They can get a 15-minute test. So people stop saying, I can't get a test. Yes, you can. So I am putting in the chat right now, message everybody, a Google Doc that I've started with testing sites: Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Houston, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas City, Colorado, some in Canada, California, more California, and Jersey. So there's lots of places. And the good thing is Panama only has direct flights from either right now, Washington, Jersey, Miami, Orlando, and Houston, and LA. In all those cities, you can get a 15-minute antigen test. Now, so what a lot of people are doing that don't live in those cities that are flying through, they're doing a layover in that city, an overnight, and they're just getting their test done in that city if they can't find something. Because if you're from Minot, North Dakota, okay, you might not have a place within, I'm actually from Saskatchewan, Canada, so that's why I picked Minot, North Dakota. There's nothing there. So you might not have a testing center near you. So it might have to be on your layover. Now there's a place in Houston, which is the most popular US to Panama location, that it's a 15-minute airport ride away, and it's 15-minute results. So you could even schedule a 6-hour layover and make it, and just leave the airport, go get the test and come back. And one thing to remember, because I know a few people have made this mistake, it's always been clear that it's either a PCR swab test or a antigen swab test. Antigen blood tests do not work, okay? So a PCR swab test, that's the one you might have seen it on the news where the swabs are about this big and they shove it up your nose into your brain. You don't want that one. You want the yes, yes, Helene.
Yeah, you feel it right here.
Like the antigen one just touches the inside of your nose and it grabs that nasal stuff. And then it's put into a machine, they close it, it goes beep, 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 spits out your results in 15 minutes. And I can tell you in the States, they're not cheap. You guys' medical system there is off the whacker. $190 for an antigen test, come on. Sorry, but you're going to pay between $150 to, I've heard as high as $250. The ones they're doing once you get to Panama City are the antigen swab test. And if your test is too old, you'll get it here, and it's $50. But like Ralph said, I don't want to test positive when I land in Panama City because I'm not sure I'm going to like their hotel, even though it's free food.
Better safe than sorry. Get your test before.
Yeah, so get it before. If you can't find one, please, I'm working on this list. So send me an email. Our email is, Megan, can you type it in the chat? Our email,
Sure.
info@retireinpanamatours.com. And just give me your city and state where you are, and I'll look through my contacts and I'll try to add it onto the list here. I have phoned and verified all these places here that they do, and I put in the time, 15-minute, 1 hour, 20 minutes, same day, all depends on the place. So, okay, next question.
We had from Jessica, can you repeat the cities that fly into Tocumen?
Oh, okay.
Maybe you can do that in the chat, or if you know it from memory.
I'm going to type it in the chat as you go.
There we go.
Question.
Thank you.
Great. Is the test 48 hours within the departure from USA or within the arrival at Panama City? it will be from your departure time on your flight. Okay. Let's go back to our questions. Karen had a question. When I moved to Panama, my husband and I want to buy a 4-wheel ATV. First question is, can we drive the ATV on the streets in downtown Boquete? And second question is, can we drive the ATV on other roads or on highways in Panama?
Okay, I guess I will respond that one. The ATVs is like any other vehicle. The ATV has to be registered into Panama, so I have to do the proper importation if you bring it from United States or other country. It has to be a Panamanian plate, and also insurance and everything you have to wear with the helmet. You have to be every single regulation like a motorcycle. The drive license. You cannot drive on the highway. That's not for highway. That's only for a small town or off road, like off limit of the main town. That goes for the ATV. That also goes for the, what is the name for those vehicles, the Can-Ams with the 4-seaters? Can somebody help me with that? Pardon me?
Golf cart?
Well, golf cart, something like that, but you know, like Can-Am, like the big ones.
Yeah.
Because some people think using. By the way, hi Dave, hi Bridget.
Polaris.
So those vehicles are not like a regular car or a motorcycle. So you can drive those in inner towns, but they're not meant to be on the highways. If that answers your question.
Right, and ATVs and golf carts, people do drive them around Boquete, but I would never take it on a highway.
Yeah, especially golf carts, definitely not. It's for to be in a gated communities, not in a civilian or traffic area. Some people take the gamble, but that's not legal with a golf cart.
Right.
Next.
I think we had some hands raised. Taryn?
Yes, Taryn, yeah.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much. I thank you for this opportunity. My question being, I'm coming to Panama December the 23rd, and I'll be in Panama and then in Boquete. I just would like to know, do you think things will be up and running at that point? I mean, I know it's a Christmas week, so I really don't know what to expect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Joseph was cutting off a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Joseph,
yeah.
just.
When are you planning to arrive? I missed
I'm planning to arrive in Panama City on December 23rd, flying out to Boquete on the 24th, staying in Boquete from the 24th to the 30th, and then back to Panama City for the 30th to New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just interested to know how it will be?
Yes, please.
Well,
So,
it's gonna be.
It did. The country opened to tourists on Monday, and we have heard that things have been going smoothly. I don't know if Oscar and Rod want to expand on that.
Well, as far as it is right now with the current situation, well, the only thing that's gonna happen, no big gatherings. So far it's not bars or disco. So if you're coming for party might be with friends. Yeah, but I'm saying this because it's a big holiday, so people might have the expectation for restaurants, going to bar, socialize.
Yeah.
As maybe we'll be open some of the establishments. As it is right now, they're not yet. It's potentially still gonna be the mandatory max and the mandatory COVID test before arrive to Panama. That's pretty much will be it. It will be as it is right now. You have to take in consideration what is the present. It might be the situation in December. The only difference is hopefully by December, we will be like a no curfews or no Sunday lockdown in the national territory. But it's subject to change.
So I have a question for you. So on the Expat Facebook that I belong to, several people have suggested that I delay my trip, which I so don't want to have to do. In your opinion, do you feel as though I should delay it?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. What was the?
I said in your professional opinion, do you feel as though I should delay it at this point?
Delay your trip?
Yes.
Oh, it depends. I mean, do you have family here? Do you have like a strong feeling to come for a visit for the holidays?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to come because I'm basically seeking it out to become an expat in the year 2021.
Okay. I mean, a lot of people in the Facebook groups, there is a lot of toxicity, in my humble opinion. So a lot of people are just very pessimist, and they just say, no, don't come here, whatever. They're just ready to leave, and just people are a lot. There is a lot of haters in the groups. We don't suggest to get your main information in any group, or not any group, but in some groups, especially in the ones in the Panama City area. But as it is right now, I mean, only you can do is to make sure you are informed. We're more than happy to keep providing the real facts information. And as I will say, yeah, December, as it is right now, it should be really beautiful spot to come. So just hold on
It's
that.
really at your own discretion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the type of person, I normally go to the beat of my own drum, but COVID-19 is a little bit different. So I just wanted to know, in your opinion, what you thought. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, I would like
Sure.
to speak up to that too. It's got to be what you feel, Taryn. There's 3 other people on this page. I'm on a computer, so I'm seeing 25 people. There's 3 other people, besides Oscar, Megan, and myself, that are moving here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. They are comfortable doing that. So you have to be comfortable coming. If you look at the real numbers, there's less chance of you getting COVID here than there is in every state, every U.S. state. We have a lower transmission rate than any U.S. state has right now.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't actually getting the COVID. I actually work in the health profession, so I'm exposed to a lot of people regularly, and I've been tested. My question was basically, I just know that the government has been very, very proactive with this situation, and that's where I was really concerned, that if for some reason things started to spike and the government decided to shut down, that's where my concern lies more than anything.
Yeah, we can't answer to that because that could happen. There would be some time. It's not an overnight thing. Couldn't be, because they've opened to tourists. There's a bunch of tourists here. They would have to give people notice. But do expect to wear your mask in public. Do expect to social distancing in restaurants and stuff. I really believe in December that's still going to be part of our life here. So
absolutely. Yeah.
With all that stuff. If you're not, then you should probably wait.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate your time, and I so look forward to coming to Panama and to go to Boquete. So thank you all so very much.
Yeah, for sure. Look us up when you get here. We'll go for coffee sometime.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
Megan, as you're deciding on the next question, I want to address the testing again, because I see a bunch of stuff going on in the chat, so you don't have to go through it. If you're looking to your civic government, county, state locations for testing, you're not going to get the results quick enough. In most cases, you're just not going to get the results quick enough. If you're looking for PCR testing, you're not going to get the results quick enough. You have to look for a antigen swab private clinic that does testing. Now, if there's not one on my list, please let me know what city you're living in, and so we can help you find one. So I just wanted to bring that up because I saw some people saying that this county says it's 3 to 5 days. Yeah, all the government-sponsored stuff will take 3 to 5 days. So it's useless. Like, it's no good to come to Panama.
Hey, Rod, can I speak to that?
You can, Dave.
Hi. We live in Seattle. I used to work for public health, and we can't get fast tests. So we are flying to Houston next Wednesday, going to spend the night, go to the clinic when we get there, get our test, and then go to Panama from there, because there's just no way, once it became 48 hours, that we could get the test and get to the airline in time to do that. So you might want to consider looking at Rod's list and stopping in Miami or Tampa or Houston to get a test. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's a great idea, especially coming all the way from Seattle. That's a long trip anyway, so why not make it an overnight? So
yeah.
Hey, Rob, I can jump in there. It's Ralph. There's actually a few airports Houston included, that's doing rapid test right at the airport.
Yep. Yeah. Tampa. I haven't announced Houston yet because they were only doing. They were still in beta. They weren't doing general public. But Tampa doing it. San Francisco supposed to launch it next week.
Newark has got it. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, Newark. That's what Megan is planning out.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so it started to happen, folks. The airports are doing it. The FDA approved that Abbott antigen swab test, and they have millions of machines or tests being done. So the airports are, the airports want to make money too. They've had no money, so they're going to charge you for it rather than a clinic. So isn't that sweet? So, but they can make more profit back. But yeah, so over the next 2 months, we're going to see more and more airports ramp that up, and you won't have a problem getting a test. Okay, go ahead, Meg.
All right. I don't know if we still have Ralph on for this question, but Jerry asked, are handguns allowed in your home / in Panama? If not, I think we can answer that.
no, I'm here.
Yeah, Ralph.
Oh, there he is.
That is a Ralph question.
Let me start my video. Okay. I won't get into a political discussion, but one of the reasons I chose Panama is it has determined that citizens have a right to self-defense. And with that, they have a right to a firearm. And obviously, they're not going to force one on you. So people who don't like them, don't get them. But basically, the process is not as quick as in the United States. But if you have permanent residency, you can't be a tourist, you can purchase a weapon. It is held by the government ministry while they do a background check. They take a DNA sample. You have to provide a psychological test. You have to provide a course certificate. You took a course and that you are competent in using this firearm. And they issue you a permit. That is a permit to carry. And you don't have to. You can obviously have it in your house. But that is the only way to have a handgun. If you don't have that permit, you can't have it, whether it's on your person or in the house. Even in self-defense, if it's an unregistered handgun, the penalties are severe. So you'd always want to do it legally and properly. There are ways to import them from the United States. It's complicated. I don't really need to go into it. It can be specific. If you're there, I can explain it. There are weapons available. The market has opened up. It was closed for about 4 or 5 years for whatever reasons. Right now, there are brand new handguns available for sale in Panama City, and the permits, my understanding is they're getting them out in less than a year, which I know it sounds long, but I've known people have to wait for. So, and you're allowed, I forget, I think 15 guns in total. Your permit lists your weapon with serial number and caliber, and they do a ballistic test. So it's weapon specific. You don't have a permit for any gun. It's specific to the weapon that you own and you trained on.
Okay. So Ralph is the expert there. If anyone comes here and you need help doing that or bringing something from home, let us know and we will connect you. Perfect.
Great. All right, we've next question, a couple of questions from Alan Perry. If you wanted to be near beaches and wanted to have access to a hospital and quality health care within 1 hour, what areas would you recommend? Also, what would you recommend regarding housing? We would be interested in purchasing and are new to the whole expat concept. So
okay,
maybe we can pass this over to Mike.
I was just going to throw this up to Mike, who's been hiding in the dark there in the corner. I'm going to do a
Show up, Mike. Show up.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Mike.
We are talking an area of Coronado, close to the beach, close to the hospital, close to Mike lives there. Mike is the owner of Inside Panama Real Estate. He is the one real estate company in Panama that we recommend for you people that are buying and also for you people that are renting. They have a rental division both in Coronado and in Boquete. So, Mike, give us 2 minutes on Coronado, why Coronado, the market in Panama, what the heck's happening here?
Well, Coronado is a very well-established expat haven. It began as a Panamanian second home haven where Panamanians would leave the office on Friday afternoon and drive out to their beach home for the weekend and head back late Sunday afternoon. But 10, 12 years ago, Americans and Canadians and Europeans started showing up. And the funny thing about Coronado was Monday through Friday, there would be literally nobody there. There were second homes. As us foreigners came, we lived there full time. So we had the place to ourselves for quite a long time. But now it's really filled up. There's a lot of people in Coronado. It's a very thriving expat community where there's beach activities and clubs and groups and lots of golf and tennis and beach activities. And it is close to the medical facilities. You're in Panama City in an hour and a half. At the airport, it could be 2 hours depending on traffic. The old city is available to you and all the culture. There's a reason why Coronado is a well sought after expat community.
Perfect. Guys, we chose, when Oscar and I started this business, we knew we had to find an alliance with a company that could help us on the real estate side, because 50% of the people that move to Panama buy and 50% rent. So we needed both of that. So we found it with one company. And the greatest thing about Inside Panama, Mike and his wife Martha owns Inside Panama Property Management, which has a ton of units in the Coronado area that they rent out. Nice on the beach, 20th floor, beautiful view, stuff like that. But Mike and Martha, as you can see, are Americans from Southern California. They understand an expat's need. You come here, you find a real estate. There are some great Panamanian real estate agents, but how can they understand the expat needs if they've never really done it themselves? So if you want more information, insidepanamarealestate.com/Mike, get in contact from them. If you want information on rentals, just contact me. I'll send you to the right person in Boquete or Coronado.
I just wanted to add one little thing. If maybe for some reason you're looking in some areas by the beach besides Coronado or near Panama City, regardless of the situation, Mike and Mike's team and also ourselves, we can advise you and also assist you. If you wanted to buy, let's say you want to go to Pena or another area, you will get all that assistance and also protection.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rod. Yeah, we have 6 locations, so we literally cover the whole country.
Cover the whole country.
Yeah.
That's
the most beautiful thing.
Hey, Megan, I have to jump in here again because I forgot again. I just noticed, and there's over 90 people on this call, because most people know our tours are sold out for a year, and I said I was going to announce 2 openings on this call. We are doing that. We have an opening for a couple in December, and we got an opening in a couple months after that. So just before the end of the call, I'm going to release those links, and anyone wants to book that tour, you're going to be able to do it. So I forgot to say that in the beginning, so I just didn't want people dropping off the call thinking that we're not going to do that. We are doing that.
The good thing is we'll evolving.
Okay.
Probably will open more spaces.
Yeah.
All right, so we were kind of on healthcare a little bit there, and Dean and Lisa would like to know, as a paramedic in Canada, I'm curious what ambulance and paramedic services are like in Panama.
You could open a company.
Ambulance, I really don't have, I think Oscar's got to be I have no experience in seeing that in action. Oscar probably more.
Sorry, repeat me the last part that I couldn't get a little.
Oh, how ambulance and paramedic service is in Panama compared to the U.S. So,
well,
you probably got to answer this together because
Yes. So there is services. Well, there is a services here in Panama. There is actually expanding. It's growing. That's the good news. The not such a good news comparing one to another. Yeah, we're still behind. Even Panama is still behind in paramedic service with Colombia, my home country. So, but there is growing in main cities like Panama City, David. There is a program you can sign up and pay monthly. You actually get the ambulance to come to your house. But also the 911, we also have that. but depends where you are. If you're in a remote area in the countryside, it's not like back in North America. So that's why it's very crucial where you're going to move, and also what are the things, where's your lifestyle. That's why we always say, if you like to extreme sports, or if you have so pre-existence, you need a hospital or assistance, we're not going to send you or advise you to move to a remote area in Panama. So, but things are moving forward, and the ambulances are getting better. Rod?
Oscar, if I could jump in there, I got something
Yes,
to
sir.
add. All right, I'm a retired paramedic. I used to work the mobile intensive care unit for University Hospital in Newark, New Jersey, one of the busiest EMSs. So let me explain to you how EMS works in Panama compared to what you're used to. Some towns have their own ambulance. Boquete has its own ambulance, but there's only a driver in certain hours. And if you call it, he'll come out, and there's generally no one in the back. So they'll throw you in the back and just drive you to the closest hospital. We have the bomberos, which is the fire department. They have an off-road ambulance, and they're generally available 24 hours a day, but there's only one unit. So if they're transporting someone down to David, that's a 2-hour round trip. There's no other unit available. We have Cineproc, which is a version of civil defense. They have occasional units, but nothing in Boquete. We have the Red Cross. It's a volunteer organization. They have an ambulance. It's few and far between you'll get it. There is the Social Security ambulance. For some reason, if you call the bomberos and they're not available, the Social Security, which is it's not Social Security like in the United States. This is the Social Security medical system. They have an off-road ambulance that's brand new. They'll come out. The equipment is few and far between. You're lucky to get a stretcher. Probably will not have oxygen. A defib's unheard of. If it's on there, it probably has no batteries. Things are getting better. People have made donations to the ambulances, community-wise. Unfortunately, the big cities take them from the local communities because they need them more often. So whatever we donated in Boquete, they wound up in David, and we were without it. So what some of the communities have done is they created their own first aid bags. And so when the ambulance arrives, we can provide them with the equipment they could use, such as an intubation kit, oxygen, even a defib unit. So in some degree, you're on your own in these more rural areas. And I'd hate to call Boquete rural, but it is. The bigger cities like David do have a 911 service, and someone will come. It just depends how busy they are. But it depends on where you're going in Panama, but that's how it works. And there's private ambulances that you can pay for, but they don't respond quickly, and they're going to ask you for cash or credit card before they put you in the ambulance.
Yeah, I don't think it's, yeah. Like people like we hear that, and I understand that. I grew up in Saskatchewan in Canada. My family is from a small town 2 hours outside of a major city. This is 1970. That's exactly what it's like. We were in this prairie town. There's no ambulance for like an hour. There's no hospital for an hour and a half. And we are still in rural Panama, which is Boquete. We're still moving out of the 70s into the 80s, into the 90s. That's kind of what I see it as far as North American statutes are. So
yeah, it's definitely not perfect, but there is the good thing about the small towns, the sense of a community. There is actually private services. Like what was the service, Rod, we have in Boquete? This guy has this.
Well, we have private 911 service, and someone. It's called Rodney Direct. $80 a year. You phone up English speakers. You get a little placard outside your house so they know what number you're at, and they'll phone all these services that Ralph talked about to find the one that's going to come get you. Is it that $250,000 machine that you have in the States rolling down that the taxpayers have paid for to come save you? No, it's not like that. Think of being a little bit more rural than the big cities.
So unless worse, in some situations, you got to start doing this and pray. Just kidding.
Okay.
While we're on this topic, we'll quick take Penny's question. What hospital is in or near Boquete?
Well, we have.
Go ahead.
Who goes? Sorry, just gonna say. We have in Boquete, we have a polyclinic, which is a government hospital. It's a public hospital, but they do only stabilize you. Depends on severity of the incident. They will take you in if it's a fracture, something simple, X-ray, to stabilize you. If it's something more complicated, they will send you to the private hospital. Depends if you have an insurance or not. They'll send you to one of the private hospitals in David, which is only an ambulance, will be about 20-25 minutes away to Hospital Cherokee or Mount Lewis. If you don't have insurance, then you will go, as a female, will go to the Hospital Regional, which is a women's or mother-child's hospital. If you're a male, you will go to the Hospital Regional. They're a great service, even as a public service in Cherokee, I will say it's really good. Other provinces in Panama has a great, the public system, I will say, is way better than most countries. But that's the layout, at least in Boquete. And main towns, usually what they have is a small public hospitals or clinic, but they mostly do is small procedures, ambulatory procedures, or to stabilize you while you go to the other hospital.
Yeah, and so there are public, but the private hospitals that are very nice in David are just 30 minutes away from Boquete.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Kenny's advancing. Two months ago, they promised we have a nice new big polyclinica being built. It got delayed for 3 years. Minister announced, the premier, I guess, or governor announced that that's going to proceed now after COVID. So we need a little bit better, bigger hospital than we have now. So it is advanced.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is kind of actually working out. The mayor of Boquete, for instance, it was just receiving the big guy of the CSS, and they were looking to restart the construction of this polyclinic, which will be able to handle better or bigger procedures than just stabilizing. So that could be a tremendous asset, and I'm hopeful because I have to say our new mayor in Boquete right now is moving forward and is trying to facilitate. That one I have to give that credit to our mayor.
For those of you looking at Boquete, we're a small town here still.
Yeah,
It's big city, Coronado's more big city, like it's close, it's so close to the big cities. So if you like the small town life, there are some consequences. Okay, Megan.
Alrighty. Next question is from Sue Armstrong. How easy is it to get a 6-month accommodation for Snowbirds?
Very easy.
For the winter time of year, it is high season in Panama, December through March, April.
Yeah.
So you would want to look early.
Yeah, you want to look, I would say, from June. Depends of the area, because if you're looking into Coronado, and Mike can correct me, a lot of people, snowbirds, they even book over 6 months prior. That's a really hot spot for the snowbirds. But if you're looking at maybe Boquete, or if you're looking at Cherokee or Los Santos or Herrera, it's easier because it's a little more in the countryside. But the premium spot for the snowbirds will be Chame, Gorgona, and Coronado. That's premium spot for snowbirds. They were looking for the beach, so need a really long time, at least 6 months, just in case to be safe, to a safe spot.
Great. Next question is from Desda123. Rod, could you please talk again about the investment visa? I'm very interested and missed that part. Do the banks in Panama provide mortgages to expats? We will be sending out the recording of this call.
Yeah.
But maybe you can give a little overview.
Okay, Des, that probably the best is my lawyer sent me this big long thing that I don't want to read it out to everyone because it's boring. I'll probably add it in our recap. But if you want to email me tonight, info@retireinpanamatours.com, I will send out what the information I have. The decree, the president signed it at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so it's so new that I haven't read the whole thing yet. So does Panama offer mortgages to, well, it's difficult unless you have an asset to put up for that mortgage. If you don't have an income here, the chances of getting a mortgage are not that high. And getting a mortgage against a pension is not guaranteed for the bank. So this investment visa is more designed for the people back in the U.S. that have the ability to put 25% down on the international property and their bank will loan them the money for the rest. They probably don't even need the mortgage. So, but for primary residents, very, very difficult. But if you want to send me the information or an email, I can reply back with the information I have so far. For sure. Mm-hmm.
Great. We have another question from SG. Are scooters treated like motorcycles or like ATVs in Panama?
Woohoo, I have a Yamaha scooter. Well, actually, Oscar has a Yamaha scooter.
Yeah, scooter, anything 2 wheels that has an engine is treated as a motorcycle.
Yeah.
For driving a motorcycle or scooters, you have the drive license has to be, there's 2 types. One is for small CC, like up to 150 cc. You have the, I think is, I cannot remember, but it's the lowest. If you have a big motorcycle, like something over 500 cc, you need to get another drive license. But whatever vehicle has 2 wheels and has an engine, you need a drive license. It's treated as a motorcycle.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Deborah says she is on our tour in February. Woo! Looking to stay a couple extra days. Do you think we can find a place to rent during this time? Also want to know how long an apostille is good for on required documents.
Okay, Deborah, all your documents that you're getting for, depending on your visa, so we might have to clarify this, it's pensionable, you want everything within 4 months. I think the maximum is 6.
Yep.
So otherwise you got to get it again. Staying after our tours and coming before is all coordinated with myself and Megan, depending who the coordinator on that tour is. And we help you find the place and you get it at the company rates. And if you want to stay, like our last 2 nights in Boquete, if you want to stay another week there, we'll just extend your stay in your same room if you want. So that'll all work. Just get a hold of us through our main company email that you get all our emails from, and we will help you coordinate that.
Great.
Thanks, guys. This is Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
But the question was actually not to rent a place to stay an extra couple of days. Like, I'm ready to move yesterday.
Okay.
So
okay.
If I were there on my tour, can I find a home and rent it so that I can set my things down and stay?
Oh yeah, like
you think that's enough time? There's enough places available?
Well, I think you got to start before that, Deborah. Like if you're coming, you're on
February 18th.
Yeah, this is Deborah and Kevin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we should start right after the new year. We'll connect you with a rentals person here. Is it Boquete where you want to stay?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he said. And she'll start showing you places virtually. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. And the tour ends on the 25th. So we'll find you a place for March 1st.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I may stay and send him back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we might even go take a peek at it with you if you need us to. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But our agent there is works for Mike. Samantha's is great. We only find you excellent places that are not going to be problems with the chip.
Well, we've been looking online, and of course there are a few good ones that we've seen so far already, and Alto Boquete seems to be kind of what we're looking at.
That's where we live.
That's
We can be
Yeah.
neighbors.
Can we be neighbors? Yes. Perfect. So, okay, that's what I need to know. If we'd be there long enough to find something, if we needed to stay over.
So just reach out to our main email right after January, right after New Year, and you'll start looking for places, and we'll help you find something.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Can't wait.
Perfect.
You're very
Awesome.
welcome.
So from SG, what about CBD? Is that available in Panama?
Oh yeah, yeah. One of my best friends, they own a company here. I'm gonna plug them. Cloud Forest Botanicals. You can type the name, Megan. Cloud
Sure.
It has been our savers.
They grow all their tinctures right up on a mountain here in Boquete. They have for many years. They sell internationally around the world, and they have a full line of CBD products, whether it's CBD and turmeric, whether it's CBD for sleep, whether it's CBD for pain, all that stuff.
Muscle,
They
yeah.
created a little company where they sold in a market to now international business where they ship to over 60 countries. And they live up the mountain just above where we live here. So check them out.
Wonderful.
There are no laws in Panama for or against CBD. So yes, it's available here. Lots of places sell it.
Great. All right, moving on to Sharon. Is it legal to fly drones, professional drones in Panama, or is there a certification required?
I will say it's legal as long as you're not flying your drone into a private property. As long as you're not invading any private property, you're fine. You're not a problem. Or you're not near to any airport. That definitely will be a big no.
Yeah.
Actually, if I can, I have a fellow that works for me that goes all around the country doing drone videos, and
Great.
actually a very large part of Panama is in a no-fly zone, and the drones are programmed to know where the no-fly zones are, and they simply won't take off.
Yeah.
He just sent me a message a minute ago in Bocas. He can't fly.
Yeah. Also, I mean, depends what type of drone and which area or altitude you're gonna reach. Then you can work it out with the Aeronautica Civil, which is the part of the government of the kind of like strict of the regulations for flying airplane craft. But that's something to do that is because you're gonna do something big, you know. But if you're doing something like, you know, normal videos or landscaping, if it's private property, you're fine. That I know of.
If it's inside a no-fly zone, the drone won't take off. It won't go.
Yeah, if it's in flight, but the chances for do that is very low because we only have X amount of flying zones area. So either I mean, I don't know how will be the area to be that complicated, but I mean, I have a lot of know people that do drones and they don't have those challenges. I mean,
Yeah,
they're not definitely going to fly.
You got a hobby drone
Yeah.
or a commercial drone.
Yeah,
Like I have a hobby drone. I can fly it anywhere. I want.
yeah.
Like,
But nobody's gonna fly a drone near to the airport. That's not gonna go well. No, not gonna happen for sure.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
All righty. Desda says, Oscar, do you own a little Airbnb condo close to the town square in Boquete? If you do, I stayed there in 2018. Lovely. That was him.
That was me, I guess.
And
I
she
don't-
also has another question. Will you guys ever expand the tours to lovely Puerto? And I'm assuming that's Puerto Armuelles. And I'll send that over to Oscar.
Puerto Armuelles is still a rough diamond. It's a place that has a tons of potential. It's a place that is that wildness of the Cherokee province. Me personally, I've been in tourism for many years, and it's still not there to take that off. It works for some people. It is affordable to buy a land right now. Unfortunately, because it's shares a border with Costa Rica, and Ralph can correct me on this one. There is a little bit more of the crime activity in that area, and I have to say that I'm not going to sugarcoat this. that in some areas can be, especially near the town of Puerto Muelles, is now like, I don't know, it's just, the town was a little left down because it used to be run operation Chiquita Bananas, long time ago, and they left the area, so the town became like ghost town. Now the economy is reactivating in that area. They actually did a 4-lane road between Puerto Muelles and the Pan-American Highway. But if you go further south to the peninsula or Burica Peninsula, which is shares also border with Costa Rica, that is the amazing, beautiful spot. However, you need to have a very serious 4-wheel drive to go discover that area. And also if you're willing to go, if you have good skills going for off-road and 4x4. The area, it is promising. It's not there yet, in my opinion. It's not there yet. There is a lot of information. There is some developments nearby. But in my humble opinion, it's a place. Huh?
You asked the question. I mean, I'll jump in there.
Yes,
what
sir.
People need to realize is the more expats in an area, sadly, the more police resources the government puts in because they don't want any negative feedback. They want to expand tourism.
Yes.
So Boquete has this distinct advantage. I love Boquete. It's
Yes.
a dead-end town with a 24-hour checkpoint that to do crime there is kind of stupid because you still have to leave. And there's only one way out, and the police are there pretty much 24 hours a day. And we call ahead, and they stop you, get caught. In Puerto, because it's got such a porous border with Costa Rica, there are some crime reports that are quite frightening. So yeah, I definitely, you take that into consideration. That's probably why the prices are where they're at.
Yeah. If you go there, it's because you're a very adventurous person and you are very street smart. If you're very street smart and you know how to play the game, if you take the precautions and you just, you have the knowledge and get all the security precautions, you'll be fine. But
do we know if they
Boquete.
finished the hospital that they were building there?
I don't know, have that confirmation, but I will have that confirmation soon because when we finish this tour, I'm gonna do a short trip to Puerto Muelles. I'm gonna do a full video and footage about the area.
Yes, the hospital is finished.
Yes,
Sorry?
that's finished.
All
I
right.
missed that.
Well, somebody just tuned in and said the hospital is finished, so.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. We need to
That's good,
do that episode of Oscar on the Streets, Puerto Muelles. Booyah.
Yeah. Okay. So from Dean and Lisa, do you know if there are opportunities to operate private services in Panama? Would you care to elaborate on what kind of services? I mean, there are,
private
but
services can be a lot of services, but depends on the services. I will say you're in the clear, or you might need some license.
Thank you. That's something I'll address with an email, maybe a little more detail in the future.
Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you.
perfect. Yeah. From Lisa, are there schools that offer Spanish lessons? Absolutely.
Yep. And the schools and also private teachers. So it depends what is your level, and also depends if you want to be social learning with others or just by yourself with the teacher. We have plenty of options.
Jared would like to know, are there physicians that specialize in diabetes care?
Right?
There are certainly physicians that specialize in diabetes care, but if you're coming down here with diabetes,
Yeah, you're right. It's like, I don't want to wait till 9 o'clock either.
sorry, I got to mute Mike, sorry. But if you're looking for health insurance down here, that's going to be your biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Health insurance companies, international health insurance companies, like not Panama, I'm talking the international ones, do not cover pre-existing conditions like diabetes. So you will have to pay for your own medical care down here. So it is honestly the biggest struggle, and I really have a hard time with it when I'm talking to people that really want to move here and they tell me, oh, I'm diabetic, I'm insulin dependent. And then I have to tell them the news that they're going to have to pay for their own insulin. Like there's no insurance that's going to cover you down here for that.
However, insulin here, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it's way more affordable here in Panama.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Or Latin.
Cheaper, but insulin is very expensive. And it's in the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year for diabetic. Mhm.
Yeah.
So there are, like, I know, people, I can't think of the doctor's name, but in Cherokee Hospital, there's specialists in diabetes, and you can get health insurance that will cover you and other stuff, but the problem is your diabetes. That's the big pre-existing condition here.
Yeah.
People have a real challenge getting any coverage for it. We can connect you to someone to try, but we've never been successful yet, unfortunately.
All right, next question is from Alan Perry. If you are a certified teacher in the US, how easy or hard is it to find a teaching opportunity in Panama?
Really isn't any opportunities here like that. Your teaching certificate isn't worth anything down here. Panama is a Spanish country, so all of its public school system is Spanish only. There are some places but this is few and far between. There's the Oxford School. What's the other English school, Oscar?
Cambridge.
Yeah, Cambridge School. But we're talking a fraction of a percentage of the number of kids that go to those schools in this country. There's like 6 campuses all over the entire country. So they don't have a long waiting list of job opportunities. But that would be your first place to look. I'm not saying it's 100% impossible, but obviously you're not going to get a job in Panama's school system because they hire Canadians because it's all Spanish. So, but in the English schools, they do post jobs sometimes, and they have to hire international people.
What I know. Sorry, what I know is some teachers, certified teachers from North America, they do homeschooling here, and that allows you to provide the education for some kids that want to get the North American style education, and that will validate them to get the grades back in North America. That I know that is possible.
Well, yeah, coming down here and starting your own little business, like in your house, where you help educate expat kids, there's an opportunity there. It's not a job.
There is an opportunity.
Plenty of opportunities for private tutoring and volunteering.
But people moving here, there's more opportunities to open your own business than there are jobs. Trust me.
Right. Okay. From Dean and Lisa again, how difficult is it to exchange your driver's license from Canada to Panama? Is it just a matter of submitting your existing documents or redoing tests? So both options. I will let Oscar take this one over.
Oscar, take it away.
All right. So first of all, to have any Panamanian driver license, you need to become resident first or temporary resident. Once you have your first card as a temporary resident, your Canadian or US driver license is no longer valid. Right now, as it is, as for instance, for the US Embassy, there are, but they're not. It's like it's still trying to reopen the appointments to validate your US drive license with that certification. Then you just go to the Panamanian drive license, do a simple test, and they give you the Panamanian one for the temporary. When you have the residency, your permanent residency, you just change it over, and it's valid for 4 years. That's the first step, and that applies. I don't know the Canada Embassy if they're doing what is the procedure. Rod can answer me that one about how they're handling that certification.
It's the same procedure, but they're actually open. So
okay. So for Canadians, it's easier than from US right now, as it is right now. But that's the way it is.
Yeah. Cool.
And it's worth it to mention, I think, that as a tourist, your driver's license will expire after 90 days. You won't be able to drive on a foreign driver's license.
Yeah.
Right on.
Or if you have, but a lot of people in some forums, when you have a temporary residency, some people say, oh yeah, you can still drive with your user. No, you cannot. if something happens to you, if you get into accident, if you messed up, you have a huge liability. So do not do that.
All right. Hey, we're going to start winding it down, guys, because the Zoom is going to cut us off. I have to announce these tours.
Alrighty. I think we got through most of the questions.
Someone,
Alan, just raise your hands.
how many people on your I want to talk about our tours here. Someone said they saw COVID regulations. They only allow 50% occupied in vehicles. That's in public transportation. We're private transportation. But when we start doing our tours, if there are still COVID tests going around, like in November, December, which there are, we have a maximum of 6 people in our 15 passenger vans. Like Oscar and I are both taking vehicles out to do our groups because we want everyone to be safe. So there's going to be 4 to 6 people maximum in a vehicle. You'll be able to stretch out, have a nap, or stuff like that. So and this might go on to December or even January. I don't know, like how far the regulations will be in place. But what I'm posting up now, I am posting 3 tours. You will see them. There's one in December, one in January, and one in March. The December is for couples only. I can only take a couple on that because it's room specific. You can book these right now. In January, it's either 1 couple or 1 or 2 singles, and the same for March. I have posted it in the chat. And as soon as they're sold, they won't be available anymore. If you're a couple, you must select a quantity of 2. That's why it only shows $1,800. So you must select a quantity of 2 if you're a couple. Otherwise, they'll be chasing you down for more money. So those are the tours that we have open in the next year. 3 spots. So feel free to go there and grab them. And Megan, anything you're missing and wind down notes before we have 2 minutes left on the call. Izzo, you guys did great. We had almost everyone hung out to the end. We're doing good.
Yeah, I'm just messaging William back. I know he sent a big long message about pet relocation.
Oh, okay.
And I did copy his message. And we can, in our follow-up email, send out some details about pet relocation to clarify that.
That's a call that's a call in itself, William.
Yep.
But we have it down pat for you, step-by-step directions that you can do it yourself if you want.
Yeah, and feel free to email us. I'll write our email in the chat again.
Yeah.
And we will get back to you guys.
That's right. So tomorrow there'll be a recap of everything we talked about, contact information for everyone we've seen. I want to send you guys out that research information where you can research everything from crime to cost of living. You can pick your city and then compare it to the city where you want to move it to. It's kind of cool sites. That will all go out tomorrow. Cool. Any other last minute questions or comments? How about from Jerry and the gang? You guys sat quiet there. There's a whole living room of people there.
I just want to say it's been great listening to all you guys, all the stuff that's happening. We'll be there in November and see you then.
Hey, Rob and Peepa, Rob and Peepa are coming with us guys in November, so yeah.
Can't wait to meet you guys.
It looks like
we're so excited to get back to tours.
Too.
Yeah.
4 days you'll wake up.
There we go. Anyone want to make some last minute comments before we say our goodbyes?
I'll just say goodbye.
Well,
Buenas noches.
we very much appreciate you guys.
Have a great weekend.
Have a beautiful evening.
Señorita.
Yeah,
See you guys soon.
enough info, so perfect. Alrighty, guys.
Hasta la próxima.
Good night. Thanks, Bud. Talk to you later.
See you soon, Bridget and Dave, and Donna. I don't know if Donna was online.
Good night, folks.
So Donna wasn't.
Good night.
Hey, Sherry, how are ya? Sherry's here. We're all saying goodbye. Bye, Elaine. Everyone's watching off. I know this is going to end soon.